Welcome to the Fresh Inspiration Show with founder and host Rhonda Liebig, energy revitalizer and mindset freedom coach and #1 best-selling author. We are here to freshly inspire you, uplift you, and transform you with our unique mindset transformation entertainment show. Get ready as we kick it into high gear, arousing your motivation in lifestyle, vitality, and business. But before we walk through the threshold and start the Fresh Inspiration Show, take a deep breath. Check in. What is your level of belief in you to conquer this new world? And then do yourself a favor. Before you exit our show, ask yourself, what is your level of transformation? Because we know if you believe it, you can achieve it. And that's why the biggest, best, and boldest inspirers are here for you right now. Buckle up. Yeah, you've got this.
Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration. Fresh inspiration.
Welcome into the Fresh Inspiration Show. I'm doing a Facebook Live with my beautiful friend, Maria Appelqvist. Maria, thank you for coming in all the way from Sweden.
Thank you for having me, Rhonda. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Maria, I'm taking a wonderful sigh of being able to have the experience of being with you because we haven't had a chance to really talk a lot, but we were talking almost every day when we had our podcast together, Freedom Playing Fun. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but I really want to know more about you as we are getting ready for our July 30th Inspiration-a-thon, because we need to catch up. And I know that the Fresh Inspiration Show community will be so appreciative in what we're going to be talking about conscious love and how it really starts with you being you and being connected with you. So I can't wait to venture in. So we are here through the Fresh Inspiration Show to inspire you, uplift you, and transform you with our unique mindset transformation entertainment. Get ready as we kick it into high gear, arousing your motivation and lifestyle, vitality, business, and with Maria, I'm going to add a little conscious love. All right. So Maria is my bestest friend that I've known for 7 years, 8 years.
It's 8 years, I think. Yeah.
Going on 8 years or something. And Maria helped me with my first breakthrough. And it was related with me being told that, Rhonda, you should be doing media. It embarrassed me and made me feel uncomfortable. And I went directly to Maria. So I was staying with Maria when we were in Arizona, wherever we were, Maria. We were traveling a bit with this coach that we had.
Yeah.
And I said to Maria, this is what I'm told I'm supposed to do. It sounds like fun, but I'm so embarrassed. I know people are going to come after me in my family because I was always told I was a show-off. And what you're going to see displayed today is Maria really holding the space of you learning how to love yourself. And you're going to see the steps that really you can start seeing that possibility for yourself. So we get 30 minutes with Maria today, and I want you just to take a deep breath. And if you're not coming in live, tell us what you're feeling as you watch replay. Get a pen and a piece of paper. Do yourself a favor and just get yourself a drink of water, kick back, and get ready. So welcome in, Maria. Welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's always, I love Rhonda who was saying about connecting to feelings. I think most people are not really connected to feelings because we are so much living in our heads. And it's interesting because just before this conversation, I had a conversation with a very good friend of mine in UK. and she was saying, I'm living in my head, so that's why she fell down the stairs, and she now, basically sitting in her bed with a bandage and wheelchair, everything, like she can't even move. And she was making a joke of living in your head, but then you're disconnected from your body and your feeling. A lot of things can happen, like accidents, for instance.
12 years ago, before I started being an entrepreneur, I was all in my head. I didn't even understand how to go from here into this flow and keep my heart open also. It was one of the hardest things, and one of the most vulnerable things that I had to learn along the way, because if I kept myself closed, my relationships would be challenged like they were before. So Maria, when you're saying that, your friend was going through this process, and of course we see people get hurt all the time because we're not seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
What's your best advice when it comes to that transition? Like, what's that? How do you really explain that when somebody gets scared?
Good. Yeah, ground yourself. And the interesting thing is we ground ourselves through our feet, right? So your feet are basically your roots. And if you're not consciously connected to your feet, then you lose your balance. And that's so another example, like a lot of old people that got pain, they are totally lost. So the more we lose connection from our feet and our roots, we get more fear and worries and everything. So I think it's super important to find daily practice where you ground yourself, and it can take many different forms, but I mean, just a lot of people live in a house, and I hope you go out in the garden and feel the grass under your feet. That's a very good thing. This weekend I was in a camping place, and I was walking for 2 days on my barefoot and feeling the grass, and that's so rejuvenating. But also, I mean, a lot of time when I walk in the park, because I live in the middle of the city, so I don't really, I have to go to the nature, but when I do, I spend a lot of time with trees, and just a lot of time also discerning certain kind of trees, and I'm going there, I'm standing there and breathing with them and feeling them.
I feel that because I can feel what you're saying as you're saying it. So what I did to circuit and ground it is the stuff that you're saying too. And I found that if I start my morning where I'm out looking at the sky, recognizing that my problems are this relative to like what's happening in the whole world, so it allows me to take the space of really taking a step back. And I find that if I don't do that, there's something I have to think about, like, why am I not doing that? Like, what am I in fear of? And so do you find that if you're coaching somebody or you're having this conversation with somebody and you're saying, this is wonderful, take your shoes off, feel the grass, what's the things that you find is something why it'd be probably scary for somebody or uncomfortable for them to really take that first step? Is there really sometimes a really big disconnect from the whole body?
It can be, but usually it's not. I mean, it has to do with like how you're saying it and also what you're expecting from people. So if you say to someone, meditate for 15 minutes and they have never meditated. So I'm saying, here's what I want you to do. First thing in the morning, I want you to just put a timer on 5 minutes and sit there and breathe. and pay attention to your breath. Breathe in, breathe out, and pay attention. And I mean, quite quick these people see the revitalization it means, so they start to do it more times in the day and they prolong their time. So I think a lot of times we have to translate, so we use words and language for describing something that for people that are totally new to it seems like a big step, very big step.
I felt like when I first started meditating, I was really fearful of things being quiet. Like because I knew that I was at myself. And so like as a newbie, I would almost get anxious, and that's why I was so strong in the exterior, and I wouldn't cry, or because I want to get into that self-love part to for you to really share with that. But I would have this feeling that if I could work out and I could look a certain way, if I dressed a certain way, if I hid my feelings, or I always looked like I was in control, that was a beautiful thing. Taking this journey, I want to ask you, because I bet you meet people in like such a wide range of where they're at. And some people can be people that really want to jump into exactly what you're saying. They just don't know how to get there. So from here, can you share with what conscious love means, like what your definition means in your world and what you're doing?
Yeah. So I'm all about raising the bar for consciousness. And I think that's a question that I always been thinking about, because it's about like why is people not happy?
Yeah.
Why are they not taking responsibility? Why do they stay at a job where they hate to go to work and they dislike themselves when they get up in the morning? Why are not people happy, and why are they not taking responsibility? And I learned that it came from your ability to be able to self-reflect.
Okay.
So self-reflection comes from your ability to see and reflect over yourself and your own behavior. And for me, that's something I always been doing without even thinking about it. Maybe because I'm a sociologist, so it's natural for me to see many different perspectives of one and same phenomenon. So it's a part of it's always been there for me. But a lot of people have very difficulties to see their own situation from an external perspective, like you raise yourself over yourself and watching yourself. And just tracing it back, I remember when I was younger and I used to go out and fishing with one of my best friends, and we were standing there and fishing, and she was saying, oh, it feels so good to be out and fishing because I get so many ideas and I feel so creative. And I didn't have any ideas. It was silence, right? So I was thinking, I mean, for many, many years, I was thinking there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
That why didn't I get creative ideas? And how come she could be so creative? And for me, there was just silence, a peacefulness. And I was really confused about that. So it wasn't until many, many, many years later I learned this is a super skill in a way, right?
Yeah.
To see how that I had it natural within me. And I think that's something I'm also transmitting to, just people being in a room. Like a lot of people always say, like, coming to your home, just different. Ground yourself, because it's part of the energy. And now when the ability to self-reflect, and that comes out of starting to discerning yourself and being willing to change yourself.
Yeah.
that's a scary thing for a lot of people because they are not willing to be fully responsible for themselves in their life. But
So you
yeah,
keep going.
yeah. So, but I think at the same time, when you start being conscious in some way, you know, you're searching for what's the next step, and you're searching for the next thing. And I think that, I mean, one consequence of that is in our society, we see a lot an unbalance among a lot of women and men, because women are more interested in their personal development, so meaning they become more conscious than men. So then I hear women saying, where are all the conscious men? Right? So now I have a problem. So it's all this coming together. It's tricky, I think.
I love that you bring that up. So there's a couple things that I want to unpack.
Yeah.
One thing that, like right at the top, I'm thinking of this marriage that I've been in for 22 years, and how I've been unpacking. You know, I've been unpacking this stuff. Like I'm starting to understand over these 12 years of being in business, we really have to be connected with ourselves, or if we're not, then we're not going to be able to really authentically be ourselves. And that's not okay while you're in business. It's very hard to grow and connect with people if you don't learn how important that is, but also in health and life. So if I'm with this man for 22 years, I'm starting to do these changes. Like I'm starting to be more aware and not this superior person.
Well, that's also great for a marriage, right?
Well,
because
is that my husband's been reading self-help books, and it's always been a little component of like business stuff and more about himself. But as time has gone on, and me now being off of medicine, I truly have to be so deep with my spirit and knowing who I am. So now I'm really out there like, hey, Jeff, this is who I am. You know, and I'm very true and authentic. And it was very hard to get there because he still saw the exterior person. But what I'm noticing for him is that he's relaxing more and opening up more as he's going through the journey with me. So is that how, because you said women are usually more evolving in that way, but is that how some men get the in because they've been with somebody and like,
I think some men get in because their women are there, but I also know a lot of women who are in a relationship and I also see a lot of marriages during my years falling apart, because it's something like when you do this journey. I remember when I was in a leadership program many years ago. I mean, I was happy of being single and independent and not having to come home and adjust to someone. But it can be really painful when you get into a community and learn to know people and you connect with them in a way you don't connect with your husband. Like then it becomes painful and you start to wondering, right? And then and that power of connection, I think that's a part of the consciousness that, you know, the more conscious you are, the bigger ability you have to connect to other people. And the ultimate experience of that consciousness, I will say, being conscious in your sexuality, right? And which means super connection. And what happens when you're super connected, when you can super connect to other people, then, for instance, if you are a leader and you're working with other people, you start to be able to feel them even though just being in the same room. So you're working and you're building your muscle of intuition. And that comes from just connecting with people and building that intuitive muscle that we often don't talk about.
I can feel that. It does take a while to understand what that means, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And you know, when I first started that transition, what you were talking about, and this is great for our people that are going to be watching and listening, is that it is scary. I've actually lost a couple clients when I first started getting into this area of being connected and knowing that they were going to go through this big emotional transformation. And I accidentally brought in some people that just, I didn't prepare them mentally because I was still at the beginning of my journey. And they were saying, I need to leave because I notice I'm changing and I feel really good, but I've been with this man for like 40 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm so afraid because I see this shift. And so what I was learning along the way is that I get this opportunity and I don't know what's going to happen with my husband-wife relationship. Man, I do feel like Jeff and I are spiritually connected, but I just don't know. And so I noticed I was being very connected with community and the people that are looking for this transformation. And it made me feel really good. But what I did is I went back to the relationship and I started saying to myself, I am going to die. I'm going to die if I don't live my full self. I could feel so much pain in my body and the transformation. The things that happened to me in the past, going through transformation, feeling like I just wanted to be. And then I went to my husband as I was going along, but there were times when I really realized that I was seriously disconnected. And I went back there and I said, this is how I feel. This is what needs to happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but this is what needs to happen. With being consciously and love with yourself, is that the first beginning to be able to create something?
But it's, I mean, Rhonda, what your story, what you just were telling was basically that when you started to love yourself and being conscious and taking yourself seriously, you could also trust and have the courage to speak what was going on and what you felt, which meant that you could give your husband feedback, and from that you can take the relationship to the next level. But mostly what happens in relationship is that people are not really that good in communicating. So particularly, I mean, they work, they come home, they go to the gym, they do different things, so they watch television together. So you're saying you're having a living accommodation together rather than having an intimate, thriving life. Because it's a skill to learn, and a lot of us have never learned that because we didn't have any leading figures in our life. I mean, a few of us might have had parents that have showing the way and demonstrated the way, but many of us didn't have that experience, and we maybe didn't even felt the love from our own parents. So we, when love shows up, we don't even understand how it feels like, because we have an experience that created a physical pattern in our body. So when someone is loving us, we feel controlled or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, looking back to my marriage I had and left when I was in my late 20s, I can see now that it happened because I couldn't relate to love, and I didn't have the tools I'm having today. Where if I have all the tools I have today, maybe I would have created a different story for myself, who knows? But it was needed for me to divorce in order to learn everything I do and take on a different path. And
I love that, Maria. I really do. And I kind of hold in the space for that, because I find that is powerful, what you said, related to the communication, nurturing relationships, and how people have a difficult time with that. What's an area that you'd really like to highlight in your expertise that we haven't got an opportunity?
Oh, I know. So I think that's the part of it. I mean, I think it's important for people to find 3 things in their life, and it all goes together. They have to find their life purpose, and that's all about knowing yourself, right? You have to find your life partner. because that's the support you need in order to create what you want to see happen in the world. And then you have to find your location, where you want to live, your ideal place where you can root yourself. And I mean, for me, I'm still not rooted. I would love to come to a place I could feel I call it home. And I have tried the nomad life and being, you know, traveling and being in different places. But there is something powerful of actually rooting yourself to a place, and it all goes together is knowing your purpose, having a partner that supports you, and having a location that grounds you. It creates that stability. And I think maybe it's first when you really love yourself, you can acknowledge to have it all three. I mean, a lot of women in my country, in Sweden, they choose independence instead of life partner. I mean, they have a cat, and they say, why would I need a man? I have a cat. There is even research that has been done. Where they're saying, ask women, who do you rather cuddle with in your sofa, the cat or your partner? And they respond, the cat.
You're killing me, Maria.
Yeah, no, but it's true. Like that's really, yes.
We have about 4 minutes. Ask you a question. Now, in my family, and you're speaking some really awesome stuff here because it's a very delicate subject that you're talking about right now in my family. So women,
You have a dog. You have a dog.
Women in my family, not everybody, but some people choose to be alone. Like that's a process. They choose to be alone, and somehow maybe it's not because they feel like they fully choose, but I mean that's what happens.
Yeah, it happens.
So when you're talking about this, that some women choose to to have a cat, like a pet, and instead of petting your partner. Is there anything about, I'm just going to throw it out there, like copping out on learning to communicate, like who you are, and like am I going in the right direction, or are you going to slap it down and say, no, Rhonda, some people really should be alone, but is there something there about the conscious love and deciding to be alone and be with your kitty instead of building your
of course, because in order to build a relationship, there are certain things you require, right? And one of them is commitment. And if you're not ready to commit to yourself, to become a better person, or to work your own shit, or whatever it is, if you're not willing to commit to yourself, so then how can you commit to another person? So I think I told you that, I mean, last year I've been into yoga and more relaxed and meditative, and I went back to the gym again. And I was surprised how much I missed it. I realized I missed it. And one of my psychological needs are variation. It's my third need. And I just realized that when I go to the gym in the morning, I do different machines, I get my variation need satisfied and met. But before, right? So it's something about finding yourself what you need, and that can be met. So the more you learn about yourself and the more you know about yourself, the more, of course, you can also start to follow your desires and knowing your desires. And a lot of people in our society, since they're living in their head and are not numbed out from their physical body, they are not even connected to their desire.
Yeah.
Right?
I can remember when I got off the thyroid medicine, I acknowledged that I was vibrating here a lot. There were a lot of things I just held in, and I didn't, and I would, in my conversation, I can see I didn't love myself at the ability that I understood I could. And when I started going through that journey of what am I saying to myself? Why am I angry at somebody? Why am I not communicating certain things? It brought me into love. And there were so many processes that I went through to be able to stop myself and be able to say, here I'm saying something, but I'm second guessing myself.
Yeah.
So I worked through it, and I'm working through it because I think we're always on a consistent journey. So can we continue more of this fun conversation on July 30th?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
this is so much fun. So we've had a few people on with us. I have a feeling this is a really interesting conversation for people because they've been here pretty much the whole time. And but sometimes when we talk about like this conscious love, it just depends. Maybe if you want to ask any question, I'm here for you. But during Inspiration-a-thon, we have tons of people interacting. It's a really, really fun show. And so when we do our time together, why don't you and I talk about like our journey together, because you're really talking about relationships, but I would love for us to talk even about the podcast, because that would help people that really are venturing in that area.
Yeah.
We could talk about our relationship and how we tried to do certain things together, and we finally figured it out, and we did this thing where we really had almost like a mastermind of
Yes.
people.
Yeah,
So
it was wonderful.
if we
And
do
you
that,
know,
bring our relationship together and talk more about conscious love. Would you do that? Come back?
yeah, so the question was,
Oh, would you, Maria's in Sweden, so we must have got this for a moment.
yeah.
Would you like to talk about our relationship and the podcast and all
The
this stuff
podcast, yes.
from that? And then with that relationship, we can move into you talking in your second layer now of part 2, conscious love. Oh, I'd love that. Okay, so we'll make sure that we set the time of what time you're going to be with us on July 30th. This is going to be so much fun. Maria, where can people find you? Because I want people in our community to get to know and get ready for the show. Know what they're really learning.
The easiest thing is to follow me on Facebook on my personal page. I use most like my Maria Appelqvist. I also have pages, but I really don't being that active in using them. But right now, so for instance, I'm actually posting, I think, challenging questions to people, and it's interesting to see because I see the feedback how people start to connect, people that I haven't heard from in a long time, but also other people I deeply honor and respect, and they are starting to interacting with me. And I'm thinking that's really interesting because it says something about the power of question. that and it's also become something of connection. I mean, I also pay attention to a lot of people are posting things but not following up, but for me this is really a way to see where, like, how far can you go with connection on Facebook. So I'm also taking an honor in somehow giving some feedback or reflecting back or seeing something in the statement people are saying. So it's not just, you're liking it and then.
Right.
But actually,
more the communication.
like again, like connection. Connection is the key. And it's, or maybe it is that people right now are dying for connecting. And so my questions opens up for that, and then people come in. So that's one way. Another is just my website needs to be updated, but mariaappelqvist.com.
What's new? We're always having to update our website.
We always need to update everything.
So could you put those in? Could you come back into our community and make sure you put those links in so they connect?
Of course. Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. Maria, thank you for being with us. The Fresh Inspiration Show is about mindset, transformation, entertainment. I really felt like I got to get away from the day-to-day by being with you. It gives me an opportunity to see where I am in my growth, but it also gives me opportunity to open up even more of like the next steps I get to do. So I appreciate the time, and I can't wait till our July 30th. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Rhonda. Super fun.
All right, you have a fabulous evening as you're going into your 9:00 p.m. time for you, and then Pacific time, 12 o'clock for us. Enjoy your evening, and I'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Love you.
Fresh inspiration.